What is going on, guys, and welcome to the show. There's so many things to be excited about right now. For one, we've almost hit 300 views, so thanks to all of you guys for what you guys are doing. Continue to like and subscribe and 5-star my channel. It's really helping out. And also, we've almost hit 30 members in my Facebook group. So if you're at all interested in joining that, it's free. Just go ahead and search the DFS Shark Hunters. All this information will be posted in my description as well. But go ahead and just join my Facebook page. And as of yesterday, I'm finally on YouTube. So please go check me out over there, especially if you want more of a visual as to what I'm talking about in my podcasts. And just overall, I mean, we're starting to grow and we're starting to grow fast. And I'm just loving every minute of this process. But real quickly, I just want to call out all my new members to my premium page. And the first member to join is Tracy Collins. And the next one was, his name is Jake Marinaro, and then James Cornelius, Maya Washko, Lauren Odom, Mike Ellis, and Jason Schilke. I'm just so pumped to have all you guys on board with me. And if you're not a member, it's only $50 for the entire season. And if you go ahead and refer a friend, I give you 50% off. Even if you pay now, you pay your $50 now, and 2 weeks from now, you find someone in your group, your DFS group that you're in now, or a friend that you get them to join, I'll go ahead and I'll credit you $25 to your account. So, and then as of today, I'm also over at Overtime Heroics, and I'm writing articles for them. If you want to check that out today, I wrote an article on my core plays and just a little bit of breakdown on each player. So go ahead to Overtime Heroics and check that out. But what I'm most excited about is finally, right? Week 1 is upon us. We're almost there, and happens to also be my wife's favorite season because right around dinner time on Sunday, she walks up to me and her hand opens up, trying to get a cut of whatever I won that Sunday. Because once you win a few times and you pay off some credit cards and stuff, she starts to expect it. So happy wife, happy family. So you gotta keep rolling with it. But but for real, I'm excited to help all you guys just become more profitable DFS players. And in this podcast, I'm gonna start building lineups with you. And I'm gonna be building lineups for every single slate for Sunday, as well as this Thursday showdown. So if you would like more in depth of the game breakdowns, just go ahead and check out my last podcast. I went game by game and I broke down who I like and don't like and why. So if you just want more of just an in-depth analysis of each game, just go check out my last podcast. It's about an hour long and it has some good, valuable information. But before I get started, I just remind you guys to continue to like, subscribe my videos. It's very important for me and it's helping me grow and get my content out there. But with all that said, let's make a lineup for the opening game of the season on Thursday, the Packers and Bears. And the first thing that grabs my attention about this is the point total and how it correlates to my chart. So Vegas has this game opening up at a medium point total game, and correlating it to my chart, it also says it's going to be a medium point total game. If you go and look at how these two teams played against each other last year, both games, they're medium point total games. So this game should be pretty similar to last season. There wasn't any really big ads to each team or players leaving, so it's basically a plug and play from last year. However, we have a bigger sample size of how teams did in low, medium, and high point total games in my chart. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the showdown lineup and what I'm looking at. So how the Packers did in medium point total games is their receivers 8. Those were the main contributors of low point scoring games, and the one that did the best was the number 1 receiver, so that'll be Devontae Adams. And then one behind it is the secondary options. So in the showdown, I'm actually going to fade Aaron Rodgers. And on the Bears side of the ball, basically the same deal. The ones that did well in medium point scoring games were basically the running backs. So I'm actually, for this showdown, I'm going to fade both quarterbacks in general, and I'm going to start with this captain spot. So how the Packers did in medium point scoring games, like I said, is the number one player was the number 1 receiver. And even if you go to the high point scoring games and the low point scoring games for the Packers, the number 1 player to hit 3x value was the number 1 receiver, which is Devontae Adams. And during the offseason, Aaron Rodgers made it clear that Adams is the guy, and he wants to get him 30 to 50 more targets. Like he needs to get Adams the ball more. So that says a lot about that connection between them two. So I love Adams coming in, and I'm gonna plug him in as my captain. On the Bears side of the ball, like I said, the ones that do the best in medium point scoring games, that backfield. Just in both games that they played last year, I mean, Jordan Howard got almost 20 carries in both games. Tariq Cohen got 5 to 6 carries. He got 5 to 6 receptions. Let me get the entire backfield. So I'm going to take Montgomery and Cohen. I'm going to lock them both in for a solid floor. I know what I'm getting from them, so let me put them in there. So going back to the Packers side of the ball, number 2 receivers, or not receivers, and secondary options, let's go off. One behind Adams, and I'm going to go with how this roster ended up building out nicely is using MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, the number 2 receiver. Let me take a quick drink. Crown Royal, baby. Apple. So, Valdez-Scantling spent all offseason working out with Randy Moss, and he's coming as a number 2 receiver. He's a big body. He's got great hands. He did well last year. He's still cheap. He's cheaper than Geronimo Allison, who's playing in the slot. And like I said, how this roster built out, I'm fine with playing Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So right now, we're sitting at Devontae Adams as my captain, Cohen and Montgomery, and then MVS with 2 more to go. And for the Bears side, take another secondary option, and that's going to be Anthony Miller. He's hurt right now. Obviously, got done with the offseason shoulder surgery, and then he had foot issues, but he just practiced, and he said he felt no pain. He's going to be good to go week 1. I believe he's going to be good to go. So keep a close eye on that, I guess. But as of right now, he's practicing just fine. He has no pain at all. So Anthony Miller is going to be ready to roll. And not only that, but if you really dig deep at the numbers that Anthony Miller last year, might have to fact check me on this, but he had 33, 34 targets and 34 targets, and 8 of them were in the end zone. So he was a huge red zone target for Trubisky. So I expect that to continue this year, especially at his price point. Just give me some Anthony Miller. And to round this lineup out, my sleeper is going to be, and I'm a Packer fan, I'm from Wisconsin, and we got a Packer favorite for most of these fans. I mean, he graduated Whitewater. He's been one of our best players in the preseason, just can't get out of the preseason healthy. Finally, he did. He's had good rapport with Aaron Rodgers, is Jake Kumaro. And with St. Brown getting hurt, out for a while, Kumaro's going to find himself in the lineup in 4 receiver sets, and Aaron Rodgers loves to find them. So I think he's got a solid floor of 1 to 2 receptions. And quite frankly, at $600, that's all you need from him. And that lets you get Anthony Miller, MVS, Montgomery, Cohen, and getting the highest priced players, your captain, Devontae Adams. And now with Adams, he's also going to be low owned at first glance at projected ownerships for a captain. Adams should he should be a difference maker for you. So that's what I'm looking at for the showdown with Adams at captain, Cohen, Montgomery, MVS, Anthony Miller, and Kumaro. So with that being said, we're going to go and move on to the main slate. So get another drink of this Crown. Throat's getting dry. So for this main slate, what I like to do is I like to pick out my favorite games and start my lineup off with just either game stacking it completely and then taking a couple one-offs to fill it out, or just taking one side of the ball, stacking it, and then going from there. For the sake of this podcast and just kind of giving my thought process through everything, I'm going to try to mix in my 3 favorite games. Unfortunately, how this lineup's going to work out is I can only get really 2 games into it, so I'll just kind of just break down my process through it. So my favorite game in the entire slate is going to start with the Rams and the Panthers. So I want to try to get as much as I can from there. So I'll go look at my chart and see how it correlates, and it's going to be a high point scoring game, which for the Rams side of the ball, it points to the quarterbacks, the running backs, and obviously Todd Gurley. But with Gurley's price, and this is a single entry I'm doing right now, I'm not going to risk him. But if you listen to my last podcast, you know that I'm 100% fine with playing him in a 20 max entry for the ownership and his upside. But for the sake of this one, we're going to not play Gurley. So I'm starting this lineup off with Jared Goff as my quarterback. And I'm going to take one of the receivers, and I was between Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks. And Cooks is more of a big play person, but for this lineup, I just want more of a consistent floor. And Robert Woods gets the consistent targets of 10 targets per game, essentially, and he hauls in most of them, and he's got obviously the upside of getting 1 or 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to plug in Robert Woods with Jared Goff, and on the other side of the ball with the Panthers, let me get some Christian McCaffrey. How the Panthers did in high point totals last year is the running back was head and shoulders above any other position on their team as far as hitting 3x value. So Christian McCaffrey is just a plug and play for me in this. And second on their team in most times hitting 3x values or secondary options, just Curtis Samuel, one of my favorite plays in the entire slate at $4,200. He's going to eat. And the difference between him and DJ Moore is just crazy, especially not only DFS but season long. So he's over $1,000 cheaper than DJ Moore. If you look at their statistics last season, they're basically identical. And if you go in season long, you're getting Curtis Samuel at least 3 rounds after DJ Moore. So give me all the Curtis Samuel at $4,200. His price is only going to go up from here. So let me get that easy $4,200 receiver to go along with my Panthers stack. With that, we're going to go to my next game that I really like. It's going to be the Vikings going and playing the Falcons. So we'll start on the Vikings side of the ball. Every single game, it's going to be Thielen or Diggs. One of them is going to have a great game. The other one is going to have an average game. So it's kind of just a toss of the coin, which one you want to play. But through the preseason, Kirk Cousins has built a real strong rapport with Thielen. They connected a few times for 40-plus yard passes where Kirk just bombs in and just drops right on Thielen. And Thielen makes nice diving and sliding catches. So he killed it last season. He almost broke a record for the most consecutive 100-yard games. Let me get Thielen for only $100 more than Diggs. So I'll plug Thielen in, and then I want to play Dalvin Cook at running back. He's only $6,000. He has the receiving upside. When he's healthy, he has the potential to be a top 6 back. So I have absolutely no issues at all playing Dalvin Cook, especially in a high-point scoring game where he's going to have the opportunity to catch a few passes as well as run. And everyone saw that 80-yard touchdown run in the third game of the preseason where he started up the field, broke a couple tackles, bounced it outside, broke another tackle, and just took it to the house. So Dalvin Cook's back. He's healthy. Let me play him while he's healthy, especially in a game that is going to be favorable to him in a dome, in a high-scoring game. He's going to have plenty of opportunity to get in the end zone. So right now we're sitting at Jared Goff at quarterback, McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook at running back. We got Thielen, Woods, and Samuels are 3 receivers. And all we know is a tight end and a defense. So we just went over the Tennessee side of the ball. So we're sitting at the Atlanta side of the ball. And like I said, everything else on offense is taken as far as quarterbacks, running back, and receivers. And I love Ridley, Julio, and Matt Ryan. But unfortunately, how this lineup built out is you can't really use them. But I'm completely fine with using a one-off in Austin Hooper. He's only $3,200. He's young. He gets the targets. He gets the catches. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him at all, especially at $3,200. And the matchup he's in, like I said, high-scoring game, he's going to have the opportunity to catch a few passes. So let me plug him in, and that gives us enough money to play the best defense in the slate. And the Ravens, they were already the best defense in the slate before the Dolphins went and traded their offensive players. But now they're down arguably one of their best wide receivers they had in Kenny Stills. And their first-round draft pick in Laramie Tunsil, he's gone as well. So now the Ravens are gonna. Oh man, it's gonna be something over there. The Ravens are gonna stomp all over them. Which, on that side note, which doesn't make a bad idea in some tournaments to play either Mark Ingram or Lamar Jackson, because there's gonna be so many times they're gonna have opportunities in the red zone and have the ball in great field position for them to get some cheapies in the end zone. So. Also keep that in the back of your mind using Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram. So that's how our main's gonna fill out. I'll go over it one more time. It's gonna be Jared Goff, Christian McCaffrey. Actually, you know what? I forgot one more player. We're sitting at $4,500 left in a flex position. How could I forget? We're gonna talk about the industry injury play. Zeke is not gonna be there week 1. You got a starting running back going against a terrible Giants team. Tony Pollard is going to eat. I love Tony Pollard. He looked great. Looked real great in the preseason. I get flashbacks of how James Conner entered the league with Le'Veon Bell doing the exact same thing Zeke did. Tony Pollard was running strong. He was finishing his runs. He was going forward. He was even the biggest thing for me, especially for DFS purposes, he was catching passes out of the backfield. And in practice, him and Dak, they were running wheel routes for days, and Dak would hit him in stride. And I think there was 3 straight house calls just on wheel routes with Pollard. So I love the upside Pollard has, especially at 4,500. Just like Samuel, his price is only going to go up from here, especially if Zeke continues to sit out. So Pollard is an easy plug and play this week. He's got the perfect matchups to be a lower scoring game. How the Cowboys played in low scoring games, the running back. Obviously, Zeke had head and shoulders above any other position on their team, getting 3x value in low scoring games. Tony Pollard's going to come in, one of the best offensive linemen in the game. Pollard's going to do what he needs to do to easily hit you value. 1 touchdown, he basically hit you value, and add in 4 or 5 catches, 80 rushing yards, he's going to smash. So going over the lineup for the last time, it's going to be Jared Goff, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Robert Woods, Curtis Samuel, Austin Hooper, Tony Pollard, and the Ravens defense. So that's our main lineup. We're going to go over to the early slate, which is a little bit easier to break down because obviously it's less games. So kind of similar to the main. We got 2 of the Rams and the Vikings both play on the early slate, so I'm still just like the last breakdown is I like the same players. I'm actually gonna start my lineup still with Goff, but from there I'm gonna plug in Goff and Christian McCaffrey right away as my quarterback and my 1 running back. I'm gonna plug in Thielen again, keep that the same. I'm gonna plug in Curtis Samuel again, like I said earlier, for the reasons at $4,200. Same with Austin Hooper, $3,200 in the matchup. Just lock and load. So right now we got Jared Goff, Christian McCaffrey, Adam Thielen, Curtis Samuel, Austin Hooper. So we're gonna go back to the Rams side of the ball. And this one, how salary ended up working out is I'm playing Cooper Kupp as my receiver. So we're gonna play Cooper Kupp with Jared Goff, that little stack. And for my 3rd receiver, I want to get some more of that Atlanta side of the ball because I wasn't able to in the main. But I want to play some Calvin Ridley. Like I said, high point scoring game. How Atlanta did was their number 1 option hit 3x value, which is obviously Julio 7 times, and their number 2 options hit 9 times, which is Ridley, Sanu, Hooper. So in this one, I'll give me the Ridley and the Hooper. So we're at Goff, Christian McCaffrey, Thielen, Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Austin Hooper, Cooper Kupp. I'm going to play the Ravens defense again for the reasons I stated earlier. Is they're just going to smash these Dolphins, and I don't see a reason why they're not going to get 1 defensive touchdown. They're going to get plenty of turnovers. This is going to be a great game for the defense. So, which leads us to the last position at running back, and this one might go low owned, but give me the Leonard Fournette. He's healthy, and when he's healthy, he gets all the usage he can handle. He's going to get 20 plus touches. And because they're playing the Chiefs, they're going to be losing the entire game. And Leonard Fournette is people sleep on his ability to catch out of the backfield. Look at his game logs. He catches passes out of the backfield, he gets targeted. And they made it clear already with releasing TJ Yeldon. Leonard Fournette is gonna eat. And he's going to eat early with Nick Foles, especially his first game on the field. They're just going to want to get him comfortable. We're just going to have Nick Foles just get the ball in the best player's hand, which is Leonard Fournette. So he's going to run the ball to attempt to slow the game down in general. And then once they fall behind, it's going to be a lot of just safe, easy throws. It's going to be check downs. So Leonard Fournette is going to get plenty of opportunity. He doesn't have to get a touchdown. He has plenty of opportunity just to get over 100 all-purpose yards on top of however many catches he gets. So about basically $6,000. I have no problem at all as him being my one-off. So how my early only line is filling out is going to be Jared Goff, Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, Austin Hooper, Cooper Kupp in my flex, and the Ravens defense. And let's get some more crown, baby. This is getting intense. So what I was saying about these lineups is what I like to do is focus on 1 game stack or one team stack. Once I usually only try to go three, maybe four deep, depending on the matchup, and then building around that. You really get yourself in trouble when you start just playing one off, because then you're just all over the place. You need to focus. You need to just key in on one game to start your lineup. Get that stack of three. We'll say right now 3 players. Get your quarterback, running back, or get your quarterback, running back, receiver, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, whatever you want to do. Get your 3-man stack of a team, and then go pick another game you like. Stack that team, and then see what you got with salary. Just plug and play, see what works for you. I'm gonna kind of go back to my page. Is I create a player pool. I break it down by salary, so it's really easy to be able to see what works and what doesn't as far as combinations, as far as salary goes. So it's really organized, and it helps you, especially when you're making multiple lineups, just to kind of see what you can do, because it's all about roster construction, finding the right combinations. Because there's a lot of players they're just going to go off. I mean, it always happens. Can you just get the right combination together? And that really helps you. So, with that being said, we're going to go to the afternoon slate. And the afternoon slate, we're going to get into the third game that I like the most in the slate, and that's the one Vegas doesn't like. It's calling it a low point total, but my chart says otherwise. And that's going to be, I love the Bengals playing the Seahawks. Like I said, Vegas is going to be a low-scoring game, but both teams last year, they played in a lot more high-scoring games combined than the low and medium point scoring games, and that was with AJ Green still out last year. I mean, he wasn't healthy all last season, so Tyler Boyd ain't no slouch. Joe Mixon's a great running back. Andy Dalton, I mean, he's Andy Dalton. He's basically Eli Manning's brother, but I mean, he still has he still has an arm. He can throw the ball, so he's got great players around him still. So there's no reason why they can't at least stay competitive. I mean, they're not going to get blown out by the Seahawks. They're not going to win, but as long as they stay competitive, that's what you need for fantasy. So the Bengals are going to stick around long enough to make it worth you rostering their players. And the great thing about the Bengals is you don't have very many players to roster, because the usage is going to go through 2 players and 2 players only. Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd. That's it. Throw some darts if you want to play like Tyler Eifert. He's finally healthy, whatever. He might get some red zone looks, but I just don't see the Bengals getting into the red zone too much for touchdowns. The games is you're going to have Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon just getting targeted. Joe Mixon get carries. It's going to run through them. And as long as they're competitive, they're going to rack up the score. So with that being said, we're just going to start off our lineup, we're looking at that game with the Bengals and the Seahawks. And I'm going to start with the Bengals side of the ball, and I'm going to stack Andy Dalton at $5,000 with Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd. And then I'm going to go and jump on the other side about the Seahawks, because they're going to have to answer back, because the Seahawks will be winning all game. The reason they're going to be winning all game is because of the number 1 rushing offense in the league last year for a reason. And Chris Carson blew past Rashad Penny in the offseason and the preseason. It's going to be Chris Carson's show until he gets injured. So at $5,700, give me some Chris Carson at running back next to Joe Mixon. And then DK Metcalf is not going to play week 1. And Tyler Lockett broke NFL records last year with Russell Wilson. They had a perfect passer rating when he threw to Tyler Lockett. He's only $6,000. Give me Tyler Lockett. He's the only offensive weapon they have in the air, and they're going to need him to get the lead. So I'm going to go with the 2 main targets on the Seattle side of the ball with Carson and Lockett. And the good thing about that stack is DraftKings has that game just priced very fairly, where you can stack Dalton, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, and have plenty of salary to still do whatever you want with. So I'm going to go with them 5 players and then continue to keep going through this this afternoon slate. And it's going to be the next game that everyone's talking about. Vegas has a high point total. It's going to be the 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The DraftKings has the Buccaneers priced at basically superstars. But going to my sheet, how the Buccaneers fare in high point total games is their offense runs through secondary options. Obviously, Mike Evans he's barely in the green. So you could still play Mike Evans, but I'm just not going to go there. Just in general, for me, for DraftKings, is I usually don't pay up for the number one top receivers like the Julios and them. I'd rather just get the number two receivers. So I'm going to go ahead and play Chris Godwin. And like I said, according to my chart last year, number two options for Tampa Bay, they were very, very well. They had 8 times 3x value. So I also love O.J. Howard in this matchup as well, but I'm not playing him as my tight end, but I'm going to go ahead and get Chris Godwin in my lineup as my third receiver. And on the other side of the ball, I hate all the receivers on the 49ers. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to come out sluggish. I think that 49ers side of the ball is going to be a little bit overrated as far as this game, as far as expectations of them just shooting out and getting a lot of yards. But I'm going to go ahead and just take the number one receiver on the 49ers and George Kittle. He's gonna have plenty of usage. He's going to get garbage time just like last year. He's got a better quarterback throwing the ball. Give me George Kittle. So right now, what our lineup looks like is Andy Dalton, Joe Mixon, Joe Mixon, Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, Goodwin, Tyler Boyd, George Kittle, and in our flex position, just like the main slate, the lock of the day, Tony Pollard. It's going to be Tony Pollard at flex for the exact same reason I told you in the main slate. Perfect matchup. Perfect offensive line. He's going to, at $4,500, he's going to get you value. And if you don't play him and he goes off, especially in single entries or 3 max entries, tilt. You're going to be tilting. So don't miss that boat. Just play Tony Pollard, which gives us enough money for defense. Playing the Chargers. Playing Jacoby Brissett. Backup quarterback. They already got a great pass rush, great secondary. They're already a decent, I would say decent option, because obviously they're playing Andrew Luck, so it wouldn't have been as great. But with Jacoby Brissett in there, the Chargers defense turned into a great play. So I'm fine with playing the Chargers defense. For the afternoon slate, if you're playing multiple, I'm going to be mixing and matching these defenses. But like I said, for the sake of this podcast, I think the Chargers have the highest floor. But I'm going to be mixing and matching these defenses and kind of just playing around with the receivers and the tight end. Not playing Kittle as much, but I think Kittle has a solid floor as well. But how this line turned out, I really liked it. I mean, you got the game stack of the Seahawks game, and then you got the best player on the San Francisco side of the ball. You got the best player according to my chart on the Buccaneers side of the ball, and you got the industry play in Tony Pollard. So you can't go wrong at all with that afternoon slate. So that's where we're gonna be heading for that. But with that being said, it's going to conclude this podcast. If you took anything of value from this, just please like, subscribe, 5-star, share this. I appreciate all your support you guys give me. And for information to join my team, just go to the description. I'm going to have my Facebook group on there. I'm going to have my email on there, all that stuff. So just go ahead and just take a look at that. Just $50 for the entire season. If you get someone to join with you, it's only $25. You're gonna make that week 1. So if you go to my Facebook group right now, you'll see how profitable we've been during the NFL preseason. And I've even been putting together some college football player pools, and we've been hitting on that as well. So I do all sorts of stuff. So this is not just football. It's basically just DFS in general. I mean, it's basically a full-time job for me. I play all over the place. I'm going to be doing basketball. I do a perfect lineup strategy. So it's, like I said, for $50 or even $25, you can't go wrong with it for the entire season, especially because you're going to be making that money back real quick anyway. And then not only that, but you just can meet more DFS players and chop it up and kind of just go over different strategies. So it's just a great environment to be in general. But just good luck to everybody, though, this weekend, and I'm going to look forward to sharing our winning lineups. I know people in my group, they'll be posting what they win. I know they've been doing that throughout this offseason with, or I should say this preseason with their preseason lineups and college lineups. Be posting it, saying, oh, the player pool is fire and all that stuff, and I love to see it. I know myself and Jake, who couldn't be here today, he took down a tournament, almost took down 2, I even customized the picture and showed the player pool right next to it to show that every single player that was highlighted in green was in his lineup, and he only played a small $3 tournament, and he took it down with all the players highlighted in my player pool. So, as I said a million times, for $50, you just can't go wrong. But with all that said, the most important thing this weekend is let's take down some sharks. Cheers, my friends. We gone.